a very warm welcome to EBC World English News with me, Shfaraulako. And please do stay with us as I take you through our selected brief updates for the hour. But first, the top stories. Indian ambassador to Ethiopia says the long-standing ties of Ethiopia and India is on the right track for meaningful collaboration. And King Charles III is in Kenya on his first ever state visit to the country. Now, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has received Ivan Gil Pinto, the Foreign Minister of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, this morning. The Foreign Minister of Venezuela also conferred with Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Demek Mekonnen on Monday and discussed bilateral and multilateral issues of common concern. On the occasion, Demek commended Venezuela for its principled and consistent support at multilateral fora. Venezuela is desirous of working closely on agriculture, tourism, energy, and health with Ethiopia, was indicated. Ethiopia and Venezuela have also agreed to commence the joint ministerial commission between the two countries. The formal bilateral diplomatic relations between Ethiopia and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela was established on July 20, 1950 by the exchange of notes through the Venezuelan embassy in Washington. In that regard, Ethiopia became the first African country to establish a formal diplomatic relations with Venezuela. Moving on, the Industry Minister Malaco Alebel held discussion with the Ambassador of Germany to Ethiopia, Stephen Auer, on bilateral issues of mutual concern. The two have discussed how Germany would support Ethiopia in scaling up the experiences achieved in the modern banking system into the manufacturing industry sector. According to the Ministry of Trade, the two sides further exchanged views on the areas of cybersecurity and digitalization. The South Korea's Chuncheon City Mayor Yuk-dong Han arrived in Addis Ababa with his delegation for a working visit to Ethiopia and to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the two sisterly cities. Upon arrival at the Addis Ababa Bole International Airport, the delegation was received by Deputy Mayor of Addis Ababa, Jantra Rabbai. In addition to celebrating the 20th anniversary of the two sisterly cities, Mayor Yuk-dong Han will discuss with his Addis Ababa counterpart Adana Chabibi on ways of further strengthening the bilateral relationship between the two cities. During its stay in Addis Ababa, the delegation is expected to visit various development activities, including mega projects, according to the Mayor Office of Addis Ababa. It is to be recalled that on August 28, 2023, both cities agreed to work on issues related to urban development, smart cities, education, training, and land management.
ስሜ ቄስ እየገና ይባላል። በደብሩ ያለኝ ኃላፊነት የስብከት ወንጌል። አጸዱን የዘሩት ከአቡነ በርተሎሜዎስ ገዳም ዘሩን አምጥተው 40 ቆፋሪ 40 ጥንድ በሬ አድርገው ነው የዘሩት። የተከሉበት ዘመንም በአጼ ተክለ ጊዮርጊስ ዘመነ መንግስት ነው። አጼ ተክለ ጊዮርጊስ የኋለኛው ከዘመነ መሳፍንት በኋላ ያለው ሳይሆን የፊተኛው 5 ዓመት የገዙት አጼ ተክለ ጊዮርጊስ በሳቸው ዘመነ መንግስት ነው የተከሉት።
Welcome back. You're still watching ABC World English News. Now, the diplomatic ties between Ethiopia and India have been characterized by mutual respect, cultural exchange, and cooperation in various fields. Talking to ABC World, the Indian ambassador to Ethiopia, Sri Robert Shet-Kintong, said the relations between the two countries are on the right track, but a lot remains to be done to elevate this to a higher level. Shagai Mato reports.
The historical relationship between Ethiopia and India goes back about 2,000 years of recorded history. Investment, trade, education are among the ties the two countries have been engaged in. Talking to ABC English, Indian ambassador to Ethiopia, Sri Robert Shet-Kintong, said the relations between Ethiopia and India are on the right track, but a lot has to be done to elevate to a higher level. Mentioning the education sector as an example, the ambassador indicated the role of India in the education sector has been indispensable for professional development in Ethiopia.
Every year, the Indian Foreign Ministry provides 55 scholarships to Ethiopian nationals. Every year, 400 plus Ethiopian nationals attend short-term trainings in India. So when you look at our relations are on the right track, but we can always expand and improve our relations.
Highlighting the expansion of Indian companies in Ethiopia for larger business cooperation, significant number of Ethiopians got job opportunities at the Indian factories.
The business component is substantial. There is so much of visibility. We have 650 Indian companies registered with EIC. I believe there are about 300 plus Indian factories. They give employment to 75,000 Ethiopian nationals, and investments worth about 3 to 4 billion are here on the ground. So you can see that our business relations are excellent.
Regarding Ethiopia's membership to BRICS bloc, the ambassador noted that it helps Ethiopia to be heard in the international arena in multilateral events.
More than opportunities, I think Ethiopia has a lot to give, more to give, so that the voice of the global south is always reflected in multilateral events.
Indian and Ethiopian nationals marked the 75th Indian Unity Day at the Embassy of Indian premises in Addis Ababa with various songs and dances of the two countries last Saturday.
Now, foreign investors in the horticulture industry have hailed the conducive agroclimate conditions and the untapped potentials of Ethiopia to do business in the horticulture industry. Talking to EBC World, the investors have urged the government to give prime attention to tackling major bottlenecks of the sector to register remarkable achievements in the industry. Haptama Shagre has compiled the following report.
The horticulture sector is a flourishing industry in Ethiopia, which generates over $660 million during the 2020-23 fiscal year.
Business in the right way.
Talking to BBC English, Edwin D. Guji and Wes Ekins are among those potential foreign investors, and they have been taking the full advantages of the opportunities through investing in the horticulture industry in Ethiopia. These investors are also witnessing the conducive agroclimatic conditions of Ethiopia to do business in the sector.
Ethiopia need not to suffer. Ethiopia have the whole climate zone for apple, vegetables, flowers, fruit. You can grow everything in Ethiopia. Ethiopia was a couple of years ago on the way #1 for the best from Africa. We need bring investors for everything, vegetables, milk industry, cattle, everything is possible in Ethiopia. What we now have is totally not necessary. We can do our business in the right way, a good economy in the country.
The climate, and we have, of course, Ethiopia, the 13 months of sun. That's always how we say it. And the sun is what we need to grow our crops in a good way.
They also urged the government to prioritize activities to alleviate the major bottlenecks of the sector to register significant achievements in the horticulture industry.
We have a problem, and the problem is that the issue is the land problem. You cannot expand in Ethiopia because we have a problem with the land. We need a law in the country to compensate the farmers in a way by a good compensation system that the investor can expand in the country. It stops the economy, it stops the forex, we create an inflation, or we have not enough exports.
To get a foreign loan to register is very difficult and challenging, takes time. And also afterwards, after achieving it, it will also take a lot of time and effort to keep the bookkeeping, so to say, in the right order. The security is mainly a problem for us because of the ability to export, because we need a daily export. So if one day falls out because of a transport issue, we are lost. So we have to, it's wasted, and waste is not good for no one, not for us and not for Ethiopia as such, because we are lacking then also the foreign currency again.
Recently, the horticulture industry is the second huge hard currency generating industry next to coffee in Ethiopia.
And finally, King Charles III is in Kenya on a 4-day trip, his first state visit to a Commonwealth country as king. The King and Queen Camilla touched down at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport late on Monday. And the royal couple was received by Kenya's Prime Cabinet Secretary and Foreign Minister Musalia Mudavadi and British High Commissioner to Kenya Neil Wigan. On Tuesday morning, a ceremonial welcome by the Kenyan President William Ruto has been put in place for the King's state visit. Tigis Sarnisa has compiled the following story from Africa News.
United Kingdom's King Charles III is in Kenya for a 4-day trip for his first state visit to a Commonwealth country as king. It is also a visit that's full of symbolism, as Charles's mother, the late Queen Elizabeth II, learned that she had become UK monarch while visiting a game-preserving Eastern African nation in 1952. During the visit, King Charles III faces demands for an apology and reparation for colonial abuses. His visit to Kenya has brought renewed focus on Britain's painful colonial legacy in the country.
The Kenya Human Rights Commission has responded to that need by providing a detailed description of all the atrocities, of all the injustices to do with land, and many other things. Now that he has that from us, we would like him now to come back and saying, well, I've got much more deeper understanding than I expected.
The king is urged to acknowledge and apologize for the suffering inflicted under British rule from 1895 to 1963.
They should apologize now, because an apology is actually a public acknowledgement and affirmation that a wrong happened, and therefore there's also a room to have a remedy about it. So what they have been talking about is a statement of regret, which is not a proper way of acknowledging that something wrong happened.
A 2021 UN report found over 500,000 Kenyans around Kericho suffered gross rights violation, including unlawful killings during British rule.
And with that, we come to the end of today's brief updates. Thanks a lot for watching us. Bye-bye.